We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts. Your health is special, metabolic, yeah. Let's build new habits, make them sexy, yeah. Sustainable life.
So, hi, welcome to the magic of metabolic health, where optimizing your metabolic health is our goal, and we are here to help you get there. My name is Dr. Funmmy Awoyomi, and this is our second episode titled Everything You Need to Know About Sugar. In the first episode, we covered a lot of ground talking about what exactly is metabolic health, and we had a lot of great responses from our viewers. Thank you for your support, your continued support, for liking, subscribing, for commenting, for engaging. We want to know your thoughts, and we want to see if we can release our toolbox of stuff to help you get there. That being said, I have here the wonderful Amelia. Tell us, how are you doing, Amelia?
Hey everybody, hi Fumi, good to see you. So my name's Amelia. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer and I'm also a health coach. And yeah, thinking about the last episode, we got some really cool feedback from some friends and viewers.
Mhm.
Two of them independently shared with me actually about how this is funny, they said they felt attacked.
Personally attacked, right?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, did we hit the nail on the head, perhaps?" And
Think
one of
so.
them said, "Yeah, so I thought I was doing really good with
Mhm.
my healthy eating or whatever, and then I realized some of the symptoms you guys talked about were my symptoms,
Oh,
and I didn't
wow.
realize that they were symptoms of
Right.
maybe the food I was eating or the sleep I wasn't getting."
Right.
So that was really cool.
Okay.
The other person, what really resonated with them was our conversation about behavior change
Sure.
and how hard it is. And I
Hmm.
think it kind of struck a chord with them and
Okay.
hit home of, all right, that's that's my battle right now, so to speak. That's how they
Sure.
put it, is I've got to figure out my why. I've got to
Okay.
figure out, how,
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, and making some changes. So that was great feedback. And it's our only our second episode, so we're continually refining and like figuring out our process. So
Hmm.
really excited for our second episode today.
Yes, let's talk
Fumi,
about it.
let's go.
All right. So, as you said, it's really important to understand the role that sugar plays in our metabolic health. And this is why we decided to bring it up because, sometimes, as in general, sugar is like a prevalent ingredient in a lot of what we're eating. So, what we eat is like proteins, we eat carbs, we eat fats, and then occasionally we indulge in some alcohol, which converts into sugars. And so, carbs turn into sugars, and this is what our body processes in order for us to create energy. So you need carbs, you need sugars in the driving force of what gives you energy throughout the day. So, but are you ingesting too much sugar? So this is
All
the
right, I'm
number.
going to stop us right here. Sorry, there's just one thing that I don't know if we should say it that way, because there's so many conflicting views on it, like the whole our body needs sugar, and then other people are saying technically carbohydrates are not an essential nutrient, so we don't need sugar because our body can convert enough energy from fat and protein to survive, like, optimally.
Okay,
So
so
what do you
we can
think
talk
about
about that. So the only thing, wait. So this is part of this is right. So
I
the go
We're not
ahead.
recording right now. I
I
just
don't know. This is a good part of what you mentioned. I think you
Oh,
should
you
put
think
this
so?
in, actually.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I do. I think that the way you came in and said that, hey, by the way, there's a lot of people that are saying X, Y, or Z, and here's why I debunk that. So I think that that's actually a more natural way of doing it instead of just going back and forth. It's like, yeah, but I heard this, and I'll be like, well, this is what they mean by that.
Uh-huh.
So I think actually that was actually very cool.
Okay. All right. We'll see how it goes, I
Okay,
guess.
so let's see how it goes. So when you say that that carbohydrates is not an essential mineral or essential nutrient, those people are talking about the fact that there's certain things that our body needs, which are called essential amino acids. And you need certain amino acids in order for you to build the building blocks of your body, the bones, the tissues, the organs, things like that. However, the driving force of the Krebs cycle, which is a cycle that takes carbon dioxide and sugar to make ATP, which is what gives you energy. You have so much energy that your body needs so much energy just to run basic processes. I'm not even talking about when you're like running. I'm talking about breathing. I'm talking about even if you stand still and do absolutely nothing, your body needs a metric ton of energy to do those processes. And it can only do that if you are ingesting food and making energy from that food. Now, the whole point of what we're saying is that if you're going to ingest food, it should be food that gives you energy. And so it should be food that has nutritional value, and it should be what your body requires. When you eat or ingest what your body does not require, you have now eaten more than it needs, and now it has to take that, use energy that it just created, take that energy and take the extra energy and save it as fat. So you're actually doing yourself a disservice when you eat too much, or you're using the when you ingest what you don't need, because the energy that your body just made, it now has to take from that energy to store up more, to store up the extra energy that you made and store it as fat. So
So to
you have
can I clarify? So,
sure,
we can eat too much sugar or too much carbohydrates. I've read a really amazing person I know, Dr. Joan Iflin, talks about in our brains we don't have a shut off switch for sugar consumption or
sure,
carbohydrate consumption,
sure,
but we do have a shut off switch for fat and protein. So it's much easier to overconsume sugars and carbohydrates versus, like, if you have a steak, your body, anyone who's ever had a steak knows, like, when you're full of steak, you're full. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to overeat the steak. Your body has certain cues that it gives you where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to that.
sure.
But how many times have we eaten a bag of chips or a bunch of cookies where, like, we just want more, just
For
one more?
sure. This is not a paid advertisement, but if you give me a bag of Doritos, I am leveling the entire bag for certain, which is why I don't eat Doritos. The fact of the matter is that when you consume sugar, it almost acts as a drug in your system. Your body senses that it's eating sugar. Your pancreas releases insulin to essentially take the sugar and bring it into your cells, and it doesn't have an off switch. It just keeps going, and this is what causes people who have diabetes to kind of crash. What it is that they've run out of insulin. Their body, it has too much sugar. They can't bring that sugar into their cells, and the sugar just lingers in their blood, and they start having all these symptoms. Which is why the mainstay of losing weight, the mainstay of getting on top of your chronic diseases is diet. 80% of it is in the kitchen, 20% of it is in the gym. I have patients that talk to me all the time and say, well, doc, I can't afford to really go to the gym, or I don't really have enough time. Then I say, then don't. If Then don't until you can. However, because most of getting on top of your condition is the diet. And so it has nothing to do with you doing anything outside of yourself, but then to fix your diet, and it starts at home.
And when we talk about diet, and Fumi and I are 100% on the same page, we're not talking about a diet, like go on a diet. We're
Mm-mm.
talking about dietary lifestyle
Sure.
or food lifestyle or nutrition habits or whatever you want to call it. Because as a personal trainer, I try not to use the D word because it's so triggering for people and it's also so misunderstood, right?
Okay. So I definitely understand what you mean by that, and I actually agree. As in, there's so many diets out there. Soft life, or not soft life, but Southern diets, and keto diets, and carnivore diets. There's so many diets out there. Instead of thinking about the word diet, think about it in the larger sense of as what I eat in a day. If you, as a person, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you're doing is eating processed foods, we might have a problem. If you, as a person, everything that you eat is outside of your home, and it's outside and it's out of a bag, we might have a problem. If you as a person, you're not drinking enough water, you're not having you're starting to have headaches, you're starting to feel sluggish, you're not doing so well, we might have a problem. These are all the symptoms that we talked about in the last episode, because your body is sending you a signal that everything is not okay, and it is imperative for you to listen to it.
Yeah.
This is the warning sign. They're sounding the alarm, and it's just up to you to listen to it and say, okay, how can I change it? And that's why you're here.
Right. Yeah. So to kind of move forward with our subtopics, there was a lot. Man, there's so much to cover with sugar, and there's no way we're gonna cover even half of it
It's
today.
impossible. I could talk about this
You
for
know?
literally 3 hours. Sugar, I could talk about this for 3 hours because, quite honestly, it's so good. However, we're going to bring to you the things that you need to know about sugar, the things that has been the questions that are on your mind. Like what?
Yes. So let's define the sugar that we're talking about,
Sure.
because a lot of times people just think of sugar as candy, cakes, cookies, soda,
No.
even fruit,
No.
right? And there's also a lot of debate in this community of health and wellness, between doctors, between nutritionists, about, does sugar respond differently in your body if it comes from a certain source,
Sure, of course.
right? So does Coca-Cola, sorry, uh, a soda drink,
Ah,
I try not,
yes.
I really try not to reference big companies, but
Big
so
company, girl,
if
they're
you're
going to come for
drinking
you.
soda, if you're drinking a can of soda and then you eat, I heard Dr. Ken Berry talk about this once, a big bunch of grapes. So his
Mhm.
perspective is that your body does not know the difference between a can of soda and a big handful of grapes because
That,
it's glucose.
mm, this one
What
is
do you
hard.
think about that,
So
Dr.
this one is
Funmmy?
a hard one because they've already tested what's in a lot of these canned soda drinks and things like that. There's a lot of sugar in these soda drinks, and they have chemicals that are put in these drinks in order for your body to not immediately vomit when you ingest that much sugar. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I want you to go look it up. So if you just took a spoon of sugar, just like took a spoon and just ate it out of the blue, your body would be like, what is going on? There are chemicals in soda drinks that prevent you from vomiting on point. And so I implore you to say, what food do you eat that makes you feel I should vomit this thing, and you continue to keep eating it? None. Your body's reaction to vomiting is like it's a warning signal saying, "Hey, I don't like what I'm ingesting. Throw it up." So this is just another thing that you have to use your gut hormones, your gut sense to say, "Okay, this is not good for me. I don't like this," and to stop eating it.
Mhm.
And when you talk about grapes are not just glucose. Grapes are fructose. So there's different types of sugar that are in things. When we say carbs, we say, okay, carbs break down to sugars. When we say breaks down to sugar. Sugar is sucrose and fructose in the case of fruit. So there are different enzymes in your body, in your gut, that recognize just glucose, just fructose. So it's not fair to say that, okay, if you drink a soda that your body uses the same enzymes. That's not true, actually. And I would warn that he would knows that.
Mm. Well, maybe he'll watch this episode and make a comment below. But
Maybe he
yeah,
will.
so with these different forms of sugar, right? I don't know how important it is to get into the biological processes of, you know, glucose, fructose, sucrose, but I think what's most important, in my opinion, in what we're doing right now is helping people understand the overall effects of the overconsumption of sugar.
Sure.
And we all know what's sugar, right? Now we can prioritize the sweets, but we can also talk about folks who eat bread multiple times a day. Not everyone has an issue with that. Not everyone will have a blood sugar spike from that.
Sure. Sure.
But it's also very common for people to have responses to an overabundance or an overpresence of breads because of that breakdown of sugar once they consume it.
Sure.
So maybe we should keep going and talk a little bit about what does happen physiologically in relationship with sugar and insulin, because that kind
Sure.
of describes what we were just talking about. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the thing is that, like you said, a lot of patients when they think, Doc, a lot of my patients they say, Doc, when they come in, it's like I don't know what's going on with my sugars. I don't really even eat cupcakes or sweets or anything like that. And I say, okay, well, tell me what you eat in a day. They say, oh, I eat rice in the morning, then I eat bread in the afternoon, then I eat potatoes in the evening, and then I wash it all down with like several like dozen fruit or whatever the case may be. This is all sugar. Your body has been, you have processed too much sugar, and so your body, you've processed too much carbs. Your body broke it down to sugar, and now your system is clogged with sugar, and you don't have enough insulin in order to take that sugar from your blood into the cells. And so that's how we transition into what is sugar and what is insulin and what is insulin resistance. So when we talk about sugar and insulin resistance, the fact is that when you eat something, like you said, you're eating so that you can digest it so you can make energy. And in order for you to make energy, you need to take that sugar that you've digested in your gut and you need to transport it into your cells. The thing that transports the sugar into your cells is insulin. And so your pancreas makes insulin. So if your pancreas makes insulin and in the presence of sugar, it goes into your cells and you make energy. Great. However, if you have too much sugar in your system, your pancreas does not make enough insulin for you to convert it into energy. So what does your liver do? Your liver takes that sugar and makes it into fat. And so
So,
that's
ooh,
everything. Hmm?
that's amazing because we have such I'm going to say we've been so conditioned to believe that fat makes us fat. Like
No,
eating
that's the
fat
best
makes us
part.
fat.
The greatest travesty of the 21st century is finding out that fat doesn't make you fat, sugar makes you fat. Because, okay, what happened in the last 50 years in the United States? There has been this move towards like fat and more into like fat-free diets and everything. And yet there's an obesity epidemic in the United States and an increase in cardiovascular disease, that's heart disease, increase in so many, it's an increase in diabetes, all because we've moved away from fat. It's not fat that makes you fat, it's sugar that makes you fat. Your body can no longer process the sugar and it causes you to deposit it as fat in your body, which is why when you eat diets that have no sugar in it, your body takes all the fat that you stored and said, okay, I'm not getting enough sugar. I need to convert this fat that I stored once upon a time. I'm going to take it, I'm going to convert it back to sugar in order for me to make energy. And that's what's happening.
And so you lose fat
Yes.
and your metabolism shifts
Yes.
to burning fat instead of sugar.
Absolutely.
And well, as a lot of you know, maybe if you've cut out sugar for a certain amount of time, I can say for myself, when I'm very consistent about not having sugar in my dietary lifestyle, there are symptoms that kind of go away.
Sure.
And I actually wanted to ask you, Funmmy. It's a personal note, but maybe you'd be down to share it. So
Maybe.
when you do eat sugar, because I know that we're neither of us are carnivores,
Yeah.
so there's a time and a place that we sometimes consume sugar or
Sure.
carbohydrates, of
My
course.
God.
So when you have that sugar, whether it's bread or you tell us, when do you know that your body's having a reaction?
Oh my
What are
God.
the symptoms and the signs, physiologically, mentally, whatever? And how long does it take for you to notice what's happening?
Okay, so this is excellent. Great question. So I recently went on a vacation. I was in the beautiful Sri Lanka. It was absolutely gorgeous. I went for my birthday, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna be relaxed a little on the keto. I mean, whatever they serve me in the restaurant at the resort, I'm gonna eat it. And so the first thing that they do for breakfast is that they bring me this giant platter of fruit. Now, fruit is good in many ways, lots of nutrients, but it's full of sugar. So I eat it very sparingly. And so I said, I'm just gonna indulge a little bit. I'm gonna have a little bit more fruit. I'm gonna have the banana. I'm gonna have the mango. I'm gonna have the mangosteen. Immediately after, I become hyper. This is when you see This is when you see the kids running around like super hyper, running around tearing apart the house. And then right after I crashed, I literally spent napped on like on the cocoon on the beach instead of me to be out and about in the city. I was like crashed in a cocoon in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The fact of the matter is that I feel the spike of insulin almost immediately. So when my sugar rises in my system, my body goes, "Oh my God, this is so much sugar. We're gonna throw as much insulin as this to bring all the sugar from her blood into her cells." And that sudden drop of sugar you went from normal sugar to high sugar. That's the sugar craze, and then your body releases insulin, and then it drops, and that's when you crash. So that's that feeling. That's what that is. In addition, I get a sugar fog. I can't
Yeah,
think.
for
I
me,
can't think. I don't know
I
what's going on. I don't know what time it is. I don't know where I am. I can't concentrate. I have to make a list of of what to do in a day. I get distracted. I was like, sounds bug me. Like I get irritated. I get hangry. There's so many things that happens when I ingest sugar, and it's just being more cognizant of how it makes me feel. Every single thing that passes through your mouth, you should be very cognizant of how it makes you feel because you're ingesting. It's your body, and you get to decide what goes into it.
and one question I just thought of, because a lot of this stuff that you said resonated with my experience,
Sure.
and I wonder how much of that has to do with being mostly off of sugar and hyper processed foods for a long time for
Sure.
both of us. What about
Mhm.
people who eat a bag of Doritos and they feel fine? What about
Yes.
people who eat a burger with a bun and French fries and they feel fine?
That's
So
fine. That's
that's
okay.
interesting. It's a question we should ask because I
Mm,
think, oh, like one of the viewers commented about the first episode is they didn't realize their symptoms were symptoms. So
sure.
my
Okay.
question to our audience is,
Mm,
you might feel fine after a burger and fries, but really, if you sit with yourself, do you want to go take a nap? Do you want to go watch a show? Do you feel full? Like, does your stomach feel a little uncomfortably full?
okay. These are
There,
excellent questions,
it's
honestly.
just something to ask.
So here's the thing about it. You don't know that something's going on with you until sometimes people bring it to your attention. For example, have you ever been in a situation where people had an intervention with you and they said, "Hey, you're listening to way too much Taylor Swift. We have to rein this in because what the hell?" This is essentially that. So, how to recognize that you're having symptoms when you don't even know that you're having symptoms? Okay, here's one. After you eat, you feel immediately tired. You don't feel energized by the food that you just ate. After all, you just ate. Your body's supposed to be making sugar, and instead, you crashed. That's a symptom. What's another symptom? The fact that you possibly can't sleep. If you're eating way too late, you're eating way too heavy at night, and your body has not digested its food, and suddenly you go lay down to go and sleep and you can't sleep, baby, that's a symptom. Another symptoms. If you are immediately hungry, just after you ate, what you ate has empty calories. Yes, it had sugar, but had no nutritional value. And possibly you couldn't even digest it. And so you've eaten something at 12, and at 1 o'clock, you're hungry again. That's a symptom. Your body has not gained any nutritional value, any energetic value of what you just ate. And so you're hungry yet again. These are subtle symptoms that's telling you that you have possibly insulin resistance, possibly that you're hungry, possibly that you're dehydrated, possibly that you're not sleeping well. These are the algorithm that you go through when you go talk to a doctor about what's going on with you because they're like you're supposed to be living a joyous, energetic, restful existence. I'm talking hashtag soft life. And I want the soft life for my all of my viewers. I want the soft life for everyone that I know because you're deserving of a good life without chronic conditions. You're deserving of good sleep, good appetite, a healthy body, and like the energy to do whatever you want to do, raise your children, travel, whatever it is that is. So yes, yeah, these are all symptoms, and being cognizant is the number one way of being able to get to work on it.
And we're gonna talk more about that later in the episode about personal responsibility and access and things, because we don't want to ignore reality.
Sure.
People don't have the same financial means as everybody, as their neighbor or whatever. So anyway, we'll jump back into this. We talked about our relationship with sugar, our responses, our reactions when we have too much. And one of the things we did was a call out between last episode and this episode. We asked our viewers to share a 5-word response. If you watched the first episode, we had a
Sure.
5-word response, or we tried to get 5-word responses from some
We
medical
tried.
professionals.
We deeply tried. It was tough.
It's hard, but we're trying to keep it simple at the Magic of Metabolic Health. So, magic
Mhm.
doesn't have to be complicated, it can be simple.
There's
So,
no
the
magic.
prompt to our viewers,
Mhm.
which it was a one-on-one thing, it wasn't public, but we said, describe your relationship with sugar in
Mhm.
5 words or less.
Absolutely.
And I want to share a few of the responses.
Let's go.
First answer was complicated and tied to emotion.
Tied to emotion. Interesting. Go ahead.
Second was sugar is a toxic friend needing clear boundaries.
Boundaries. Interesting. Hmm.
Third, little goes a long way.
Oh,
Fourth, controlled but still crave sometimes.
controlled but still craved. I was
Mhm.
like, Amelia, these are all giving me BDSM undertones. What's really going on? What's really going on when people thinking about sugar? It's all tying back into like what is going in your body, what's coming out of your body. And so in a world where everything is going haywire, like after all, like there's just so much going on in the media, in the news, and in the world in general. The only thing that you control is what can go into your own mouth. And so, of course, people are absolutely obsessed with their diets, absolutely obsessed with their image, absolutely obsessed with their online presence and their in-person presence. So it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It really is. And I'm never trying to oversimplify it, even though I talk about simplicity. I think and this will probably move us into our next topic as far as inflammation and our body's responses to these things. Like, we don't always have a choice of what we get to eat, especially if we're younger. Let's say our auntie or uncle takes care of us, or we're at our grandmother's house, or even our parents. Our parents get to choose what we eat for the most part. And so, if we live in a multi-generational household, there's ways. You know what, we're just going to jump into personal responsibility, because I think we've kind of already talked about
We've talked
our
about it.
our body response. We didn't use the term inflammation,
Sure.
but that's an inflammatory response, a lot of the things that we already talked about. So
This is
let's move on
hilarious.
to personal responsibility and things. Does
Okay.
that sound good?
Yes, let's do it. Because we
Okay.
gotta go. I'm actually late. Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh
So
no.
so when we talk about personal responsibility, it's
Mhm.
kind of twofold. So the advertising companies, the food industry,
Mhm.
big agriculture, even
Mhm.
the pharmaceutical companies,
For sure.
they tell us, the alcohol companies, they all tell us, well, drink responsibly, eat responsibly, smoke responsibly, do all these things in moderation or
Yeah.
whatever. And I talked about how I hate that term moderation in our last episode, because if you're producing a product to be consumed that is inherently addictive,
Sure.
that is scientifically addictive,
Proven.
how is it fair to put the responsibility on the individual consuming it to say, well, just have some once a week or
Right.
have some every now and then?
It's nonsense, of course. Of course, it's nonsense. As in, they've put the what was supposed to be personal responsibility, the responsibility that they're supposed to not put this product into the market. They put this on the individual user, and so of course, it's not fair. And because it's not fair, it's really important for people to be cognizant of that. These companies do not care about you. You are a number. You're a cog in their system. You're a number to them. And so the number one way of getting over on these companies that are essentially possibly ruining your health, ruining your life, is by abstaining from them altogether. And if you can't abstain from them altogether, it's about being cognizant that of what their effects are. As an adult, you are liable for your own welfare, your own bills, your own like what you eat, what you do, where you work, where you can go, and it is your choice. And so, taking personal ownership of your own choice is the one thing that they don't want, which is the one thing that you now must do.
So I do want to say that I watched a really cool interview with Dr. Robert Lustig, and he talks about personal responsibility. And there are four terms that he talked about: knowledge, access, affordability, and impact. And I'm not going to get into all of that because there's a lot of layers to it. But I think, as we've been talking about, it's really important to acknowledge that not everyone has the same information as me or you. They don't all have the same access to fresh whole foods.
Sure.
They also can't afford everything that maybe we're recommending or other people are saying, prioritize this in your dietary lifestyle.
Hmm.
And so the impact on their lives, on their quality of life, is very different, and it's oftentimes generational.
Sure.
So I don't want to oversimplify this because there are a lot of folks out there who have very limited choices, and so it's really important not to shame anyone who
Mm.
who is maybe not making the changes that they'd like to make, or maybe making compromises and eating food more often that don't necessarily serve them in this great way, but maybe that's their only choice. So being very delicate when we talk about making changes and reducing sugar consumption and things like that, like, we're not here to shame anybody. We're not here to guilt anybody. It's a delicate process, and we're just scratching the surface, as far as how we can help everybody optimize their health.
It's so I've so so this topic can be a little, of course, like you said, delicate. And I think that it's really important to highlight that when you know better, then you can do better. The thing is that you are working on yourself, you're working on your health. It's a journey, it's a process. Will you sometimes fall off the rails, or will you sometimes get not make a great decision? Yes. But it's more important for you to get back up and say, okay, I'm trying, I'm working at this, I'm putting in effort. And that is more important. Not that you're buying cage-free eggs and grain-free meat and you've gotten organic oranges from the fields of Sonoma Valley yourself that you handpicked in the middle of the night in order to no, you are working on yourself in a system that is very difficult sometimes to navigate, and that system is sometimes more difficult than for others, for some more than others. And so give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace in this thing that you're working on. Know about it, making sure that the decisions you're making is not affecting anybody, or that is having the least amount of effect, that you are making a conscious effort on yourself. And that's all you can do. You can't, it's like you didn't kill anybody. You're just trying to work on yourself. You're working on yourself as a person, and in it of itself is worthy of applause.
Right. Baby steps.
Baby
Ba-
steps, baby steps. Get the
Minute
time.
by minute.
It's
Minute
like
by minute.
one day at a time, as they say.
Yeah.
This is it. You just work on yourself. You give yourself grace. The next day, you try again, and you do it a little bit better. You learn from your mistakes, and you just keep trying. That's it. They didn't tell you you could be perfect. You're not Jesus if you're a theist, and if you're not Muhammad if you're Muslim. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. But but no, it ties into everything that we're teaching you about sugar. And the number one thing you do is give yourself some grace and learn something else the next day. Learn something else the next day. That's it.
Yeah, and it's about creating habits that work for you.
Sure.
And if you have a big family or you live in a community that is, very close knit, maybe not in the city, maybe in the city, who knows? Um, the aspect of the different aspects of behavior change are, like we said, very delicate. And we don't want you to offend anyone. We don't want to offend you, but you also have to make a decision for yourself, for your
Mhm.
sake.
Sure.
You have to find your why. And sometimes people's whys in behavior change are actually a little bit more external. Like,
Okay.
it might not be my blood sugar spikes that are going to get me to change. Maybe it's that I don't want to get diabetes because I want to stay alive to hang out with my grandkids. I want to
That's an
watch my
excellent why.
grandchildren grow up.
That's an
So
excellent why.
everybody has their own why. And because our podcast, The Magic of Metabolic Health, is primarily focused on effective long-term behavior change,
Sure.
that's our through line, right?
That's right.
This conversation is part of that,
Ongoing.
is giving yourself grace, never shaming any of us, any of you, and understanding that it's a process. And so, Funmmy, you always have really good affirmations. I think you have
Mm.
a closing affirmation. I guess we didn't really do takeaways yet, but sort of unofficially we started concluding things. But do you want to do any takeaways, or you want to just jump into the affirmation?
Right. So, going back to it, so my affirmation that I often use that helps me get over these humps that when I sometimes get off my keto journey or when I'm, being hard on myself, I remember this lovely quote by Kamal Kapoor, and it goes, on days that I cannot give myself the kindness, thank you for lending me yours. And this is to say to my friends, my families that have really helped me in my entire keto journey, in my entire insulin resistance journey, in my journey as a doctor, in my journey as a Black woman, and in my journey as an American. Like, in general, like, everyone out there is really struggling with one thing or the other. And so we need each other. Like, I do. I truly believe that. And darling, Amelia, I need you. I need you like like you need me. Like, I need you like, girl, I need you. And so when I tell you that having your kindness, encouragement, all these years to, like, keep me on track, this is how I've been able to do it. And the days that when you're off track and you don't know, girl, I'm here for you also. And so having that kind of support system in your life, find it. Look for it, find it. It's out there. And that's how you do this thing.
Yeah, it takes a village, and
Oh,
we're trying to build a village.
we're
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 building a
building
village.
it. It's built.
Yeah, that's true. It is built. We just have to access it. And so this was our scratch the surface episode on everything you want to know about sugar.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us. Subscribe, comment below. We're going to have some sneak peeks released on
Mm.
YouTube and on Instagram as well. My name's Amelia Wood. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer and health coach. We're so grateful for you to be here. We're so grateful for you to be a part of our village. And we will see you next time.
All right. Take care.
We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts. Your health is special, metabolic, yeah. Let's build new habits, make them sexy, yeah. Sustainable life.